Good morning, Saturday, July 25th. And there's a couple of things I want to talk about this morning. So the first thing is that COVID-19 is running rampant through the whole country. We really should shut down the whole damn country. 150 or more U.S. medical professionals have made that suggestion. But in spite of that fact, the statisticians at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say COVID-19 may end up being a top 10 leading cause of death in the nation in 2020. But they issue new guidelines for opening up the schools. They're pushing hard for an in-person return. They haven't got a plan. Nobody has seen a plan. And they're pushing hard for in-school openings. And who's going to fund this thing? Yeah, they put $100 billion in, but they have no idea how much it's going to cost to reconfigure all these schools. The CDC has just been taken over by the president. But it just proves to me that the president is in control of the CDC. He wants the schools opened. He wants those kids in school. He's not worried about the teachers. He's not worried about the kids. He's worried about his economy, his election campaign. And we have to ignore that. He wants the schools opened, and they're going to continue to tell the people it's okay to send your kids to school. That's bullshit. Okay, and speaking of the election, the Jacksonville portion of this summer's Republican National Convention is off. The president said the timing of the event was just not right. Of course it's not right. Florida's exploding with virus. You can't put a crowd in there. Can't do anything in Florida now. It's just not right. But he added that the other convention activities will still be held in Charlotte, North Carolina. But they're not going to be a big crowd. It's not going to be a rally. It's not going to be something that Trump will bother to attending. Now, this is a big turnaround for Trump, who had been touting his planned speech in Jacksonville. But now, we're not sure how he's going to give this speech. It may be a combination of Twitter and internet and maybe some video, some TikTok thing. How about TikTok? Maybe he should use TikTok to give his speech. That's a hot item, even though they're trying to blackball it because it's a Chinese app. So in any event, Florida has been a coronavirus hotspot. There are many Republican lawmakers that said they're not going to travel to the convention anyhow in that state. You think a lot of these people come from safer states? I'm not sure. A person familiar with the situation said that because these people are not going to come to Florida, that's why he's not going. But, he can't afford to have another Tulsa event on his hands, some sparsely filled arena. And then people got sick anyhow. So Jacksonville's off. And we can't wait to see the Twitter speech, right? So now on top of the news about the convention and everything in Florida, Trump says he wants to dispatch as many as 75,000 federal agents to quell what he describes as violent crime in major U.S. cities. Now, obviously, he has something like a hard-on for the major U.S. cities because most of them are governed by Democratic mayors. And he has said that the cities are going to hell because the Democrats are in charge of those cities. So he's going to send a lot of federal agents to help out. Now, you know what? There's only about 100,000 agents. So he's going to send 3/4 of the force out into the field to worry about these riots. And the local politicians are saying, we don't need that help. We can take care of it. And from what I've seen in the news lately, the federal agents are trigger happy. They tear gassing people. They tear gas the mayor of Portland. So I don't know if it's such a good idea to send these federal agents out there to act as crowd controllers. Let's call them crowd controllers. Is that what we train federal agents to be? Crowd controllers? Now, the clashes between the protesters and the federal agents were so bad in Portland and in Washington, D.C., that the Justice Department's independent watchdog agency said it will investigate the use of force by the federal agents in those two cases. Now, that in my mind becomes a little bit suspect based upon the way Bill Barr has been running the Justice Department. So I really don't know that Inspector General Michael Horowitz is really going to get anywhere. But nevertheless, he said he's going to investigate. And the Department of Homeland Security is also going to investigate the actions of their agents in Portland. So that's a serious problem. Serious problem when in the mind, and my mind might not be the best mind to look at this thing, but in the mind, if somebody says the Justice Department is kind of investigating itself to make sure that the investigation of the investigation of the investigation is an okay investigation, you follow that shit, then you could be president. The Trump administration treatment of the protests in both cities has drawn sharp criticism from the opposition parties, of course. And you can't really blame them for that. I mean, when you see people getting tear gassed, and then when you see the line of moms defending the protesters in Portland, stuff like that resonates with the rest of the nation. So I don't know what's going to happen and whether his continued actions as the law and order president is going to help him toward the election. Yeah, people might look at that and say, we don't need a dictator. We need a president. And I'll leave you with that thought. We need a president. See you tomorrow.